What role do you, what do you remember of shaping the president's schedule around Apollo 11?
Well, the main thing I remember about, I don't think I ever shaped a schedule, but I do remember I had an impact with the NASA had sent over a proposed discussion that what the president should say while he was talking to the astronauts on the moon. And it was a long deal, and I thought it was totally inappropriate. And so I wrote on the letter before we forwarded, something like, I don't recommend this or something. And I got a call to go in and see the president. And he said, well, why don't you think I ought to do this? And I said, well, Mr. President, first of all, you didn't have much to do with this. This was a Democratic program. This was, you just came into office, and I don't think you should try to take credit for it. You ought to assume that the American people deserve the credit, and also, this is way too long. You ought to be humble, and you ought to just say a few words and get off the air. And he agreed, because they threw out the other thing, and then I don't know who wrote what finally came out, but it was a lot different than what went in.
You also recommended against playing the Star-Spangled Banner and having the astronauts stand at attention.
Exactly. I think this is crazy. I mean, here you have people up there, and they should be doing their work, and they're standing at attention. Well, it went away. It wasn't that it wasn't patriotic. It just wasn't the time or the place.
Where were you when Apollo 11 was launched?
I was at the White House, and with the president, and launched. Excuse me. I'm sorry.
So because he was supposed to go and have dinner with the Apollo 11 astronauts the day before the launch. He was going to go to Florida.
And the doctors put a kibosh on that, and that irritated me. We'd gone up with Nixon, with Johnson, and had also the doctors finally had their say on that one, and I got very irritated in public until I thought Dr. Chuck Berry was nuts. But anyway, I can't remember where I was at the launch. I don't believe I was at the Cape. I just don't. I remember I was at the landing, but I don't remember I was at the launch.
Well, let's talk about the landing then.
Well, as I said, we were at the White House then, and it went perfectly. So there was it was almost what would you say, an afterthought. Everything worked fine.
Well, although there was a little concern because Armstrong had a hard time finding a place to land.
Well, he did, and the computer had a glitch in it, but they overcame it quite easily.
Well, where were you? Were you in the Oval? Situate us, please, in the White House.
I can't remember exactly where. I believe it was in the Oval Office. I think it was.
And you were watching it on TV. Were you getting any other information from NASA, or was it just what you saw on TV?
Just what I saw on TV. Just what we saw on TV.
Do you have any memories from that of the reaction? I mean, obviously, we're happy, but when all of you, when the landing occurred, what do you remember seeing? What do you remember? Remember that? That part of I don't remember the exact word. We were related. Look, here's 8 years of work on this thing, and we won. I mean, it's like winning the Super Bowl. That was fantastic.